welcome to today's video. This week we are mid-February and I'm planting some more seeds. First I'll show you how the plants are doing from the seeds we planted last month. I went around the house yesterday taking photographs of everything. It's all still indoors, so we'll show you how they're doing now.
I lied, it's not all indoors. The garlic's outside and doing very nicely. Now with the onions, Bedfordshire Champion is doing very nicely. Stuttgarter didn't germinate as many seeds, but those that grew seem to be doing quite well. I've been very pleased with this dill. It's been out of the propagator for a couple of weeks now and is looking splendid. Sadly, the same can't be said for the oregano. It germinated very well, but then I had a lot of damping off and things died away. So I've planted some more seeds and this is my second lot, all germinating wonderfully. Not sure yet if they'll survive or damp off as well, just like the last lot. Here are my lettuce seedlings, coming along nicely. Not quite as fast as I'd hope, but fine. And lastly, my little tiny strawberry seeds. Also doing very well, just starting to put up their second leaves.
Now we're up to date with last month's seed sowing. Let's see what exciting things I'm planning to plant today. I think you might be a little surprised, or maybe not. If you've watched enough of my videos, you'll know how crazy I am already. So today's seeds are hiding under this tray, and here are my seeds. Ta-da! See, not quite what you expected. I've been shopping at the fruit and vegetable store, fruit store. On my tray I have the ginger root that I didn't plant last month because it was too cold and was waiting for the warmer weather. I've decided I'm not waiting any longer for warmer weather. I'm going to start it off in the indoor propagator to give it a longer growing season. And I've also decided to break some chunks off. So I've broken off little pieces of it yesterday, and I did it yesterday to let these open wounded ends dry up before I plant it. So as you see, this little lump of garlic has a small growing sprouting nodule here. So this is a piece I'll be planting, and the same with this one. It's got two growing sprouts. We've got one here and one at this side, so that'll be going in. Now this piece doesn't have any sign of growth nodules at the moment, so perhaps it won't grow, but I'm going to pop it in anyway. I'm not sure if I'm ready to plant the big bit yet. I'll think about it. So on my tray of goodies today, I've also got some dates. I've eaten a couple already and got the stones from the inside, and I'm going to eat these three in a moment and plant them. And I've got a handful of kumquats, little tiny oranges. Now these can be a bit iffy, as in sometimes they have seeds in and sometimes they don't. I've eaten 4 of these and one was full of seeds and 3 of them weren't. I had my seeds. I don't know where I've put them. Oh, there they are. So for such a tiny kumquat, they're a decent sized little seed, a bit like a lemon pip. So again, today I shall munch up these kumquats in a moment with my morning break and see how many seeds I can rescue ready to plant. Now the kumquat will be an indoor house plant. I'm not expecting to be able to ever plant it outdoors here in the UK, but it's quite a fast maturing plant. So hopefully in not too many years, I might be fortunate enough to grow some kumquats on my own little kumquat tree here in the house. I've also got a pack of passion fruit. I can get them open. Yes, I can. So with the passion fruit, I'll do it now. I'm going to split it open Scoop out the seeds with a spoon. Woo! And I'm actually going to put these seeds into a little metal tea strainer. And put the seeds in and rinse these under a tap, and squishing and rubbing, probably with my finger rather than the hard metal spoon, just to wash off all the sludge around the outside. And then these seeds will be ready to plant. I actually planted some passion fruit seeds a few years ago and was very successful in growing 2 passion fruit plants. One died off on me, and the second one I successfully overwintered in my unheated polytunnel. Then, to my horror, some nasty little slug or snail decided to munch halfway up the stem, and it died off. I couldn't get it to recover. So I'm having another go and trying again this year. I actually planted some passion fruit seeds a few weeks ago when I did my other seed sowing, and here's a picture of how they're doing now. Aren't they splendid? Those little 2-3 inch passion fruit plants. I'm so excited. So today I'm going to plant a few more. Not because I want millions of passion fruit plants, but if I start with quite a few plants, hopefully 1 or 2 of them will survive. What else have I got on my tray? Oh, an apple. I have been munching apples for a few days and collecting the seeds. Now, apples won't necessarily, they'll definitely grow an apple tree. It won't bear apples, or it's unlikely to bear apples that are exactly the same as this apple that I'm going to eat. But they will have apples on them. It may take 5 or 6 or 7 years before I have a tree big enough to be growing apples. But I don't plan to be dead in the next 10 years, so hopefully I'll still be here to see it produce apples. If they're horrible, nasty, ucky apples, I can use the tree I've grown to graft a stem from a nice tasty apple. And you never know, it might actually grow a very nice apple for me. And then I can name it after me. Won't that be exciting? So some apple pips are also being planted today. They won't need the indoor heated propagator. The apple pips can sit on a window ledge indoors, in a plant pot of course, with soil, and that'll be a plenty good enough start for them. The date palm or the date pips, it's not a date palm yet, the date pips I'm going to put in the heated propagator. I'm going to put my kumquats in the heated propagator, and my passion fruit in the heated propagator, and the ginger. I'm trying to think what's not. The apple's not going in the propagator today, and my avocado is not going in the propagator. But everything else I'm planting will need some warmth and heat to get it started off. If you don't have a heated propagator, you could try it in an airing cupboard, or the hottest spot in your house is where I would put it. Not directly on top of a radiator, that might be a bit too hot. Nearby though would be pretty good. Now I wanted to get a pomegranate to try some seeds of that today. I have germinated pomegranates before and grown little tiny foot tall stems of tree. I had about 7 or 8 and I have no idea where they are. I'm sure at some point I've thought, when they've lost all their leaves, what is this pot full of twigs? It's just getting in the way, and I've tipped it out and thrown it in the compost. I'll have to label things better. I'm less likely to throw them out. But I couldn't get a pomegranate fresh in the supermarkets. There just weren't any. So instead, I've bought myself a little pack of pomegranate seeds, and I'm going to give a few of those a go and see if I can get them to germinate. Just like my passion fruit, the pomegranate seeds and pips will be put in my tea strainer and rinsed and scraped under the tap to wash off the outer flesh, and then they'll be ready for planting. Oh, and last on my tray, an orange. So again, some seeds from an orange and start off a tree. This will never cope with the outdoor British climate, or not our winters anyway, but I'm going to start one off as a house plant and we'll see how we get on with it. The first thing I'm going to plant today is my avocado. And I'm going to rescue my kumquat seeds and put them back on my tray. Oh, and I've got a passion fruit seed there. Now my avocado needs slightly different treatment to everything else. First of all, cut it open in the normal traditional way. I think this might be severely overripe. Oh, well, that was handy. The seed's just fallen out. Normally I would go through the same process, cut it in half, but rather than stab it with a knife and twist it out, which would be the normal way to de-stone an avocado for eating, I would use a spoon to scoop out my seed, because I don't want to damage it. I want to plant and grow this. Having got our seed out of our avocado, just a dry piece of kitchen paper, tip it in and give it a real firm rub to clear off any slimy goo of avocado still stuck on it. Then with 3 cocktail sticks, I'm going to pierce them into my avocado stone. Now you'll see it has a bottom with a little rough bit here, and its top is slightly pointier. It draws up to a slightly pointier dome at the top and has a round, flattish bottom. So that's the way up we want our stone to be. You may be able to see, and I'm looking closely at mine, I need my glasses. Sometimes I can't see it on this one. Sometimes you can see a decent sort of halfway line going around from top to bottom. And we want to avoid that with our cocktail sticks. So what I'm going to do in my cocktail stick is about halfway up is push it quite firmly, don't spike your hand with the other side, into our avocado. Holds on quite well. And then with the other 2, I'm going to do exactly the same. Push them in. I'm twisting slightly as I go in. You don't need to go super deep, just enough to hold on to that stone. How deep did I go? Yeah, see, not very deep. There's the length of a stick. You can see how much got stuck into the avocado. And then a 3rd one. So I've got those 2 there. And then this 3rd one is going in over here. Balance it out. It's not very well balanced, but it'll do. And there we have our little windmill of an avocado stone. Now I've got myself a jam jar full of water, and it is very full. And I'm going to place my avocado with its pointy top up and its flat, roundy, marked bottom is going into the water. Actually, I want to put a little bit more water in that jar, as high as we can go. It's very important that the bottom of the avocado is actually in the water. And that's it. I'm going to keep it like that. I'll place it in a warm area of the house, but it's not in a heat pad or on a heated propagator or any other artificial heat happening. It's just the warm ambient temperature of the indoors of my home. I will keep an eye on this and make sure that I'm always topping up the water so it never dries out. And hopefully in a couple of weeks it'll start developing a root, and we'll be able to see the root pushing down into the water. And when it eventually gets big enough to send out a green shoot at the top, it'll be ready for planting into a pot of soil. Now you could just plant this into a pot of damp compost now, without all the fuss of the cocktail sticks and the watery jar. But it's good fun sticking it in a jar and watching it grow. So I like doing it this way. I already have an avocado that I planted a couple of years ago now. I think we're coming into its 3rd summer. Photo here.
Here's my splendid in a pot indoor avocado tree. It has just recently started putting on new leaf growth at the tip.
So that's our avocado planted. I've set up all my pots and trays and lids, and I've written all my labels. So this one is going to be the ginger. So I'll take my pieces of ginger that I broke off the main stem yesterday, so that, as I said, these can dry off and we won't have an open wound to encourage germs and funguses and things that might make our ginger poorly. And I'm just going to simply lay it on the surface of this compost. I've got this tray half full with multi-purpose compost mix and some vermiculite. Where's this other little bit there? Third piece. I don't think that piece is going to grow, but we'll put it in anyway. And then when the camera's gone, I'm going to sprinkle some more on top, almost to the top of the tray, just to cover these up. In fact, I'll go and get that now. Here we are, back with a tray of compost. And slide everything up. Not sure, knock it all off the table. So having popped my ginger in on its half-filled tray of compost, my water bottle working. Oh, no. I'm going to give everything a spray with some just plain water. Get everything nice and damp. And then cover it all over with an extra layer on top. Spread that all out, just enough to cover them. Add more water to make that nice and damp as well. Now, even though this has been planted in its own little tiny propagator, I'm going to put this whole little setup in my heated propagator so it gets some warmth from the bottom. And that nice damp compost gets lovely and cosy and warm and encourages this ginger to put up some nice green shoots. Put my compost down out of the way. What should we plant next? Kumquats, we might as well. So for my kumquats, I have a pot of compost, a label so I know what it is, and the 3 kumquat seeds I rescued yesterday. And I'm simply just going to place them on the soil, give them a gentle push down with my finger, cover it over and spray them with the water bottle. Again, a little cover which will help keep all that moisture in. That label's too tall. I'm going to put it to the side. In fact, I might lay it on top until they start germinating. So a little plastic dome on top to help keep all the moisture in. And this will go in the heated propagator, just like that. And we'll hope something germinates. I'm going to do the same treatment for my orange pips. They'll be planted in the same way. I'm trying to think if anything else is different. Really just the apple. Apple label. My apple seeds are going in this much larger pot with exactly the same compost and a bit of vermiculite. Got some seeds I've already collected and I'm just going to pop them all on the surface, push them down a little bit, cover them over, spray it nice and wet. Now this doesn't have a cover. I'll probably put some sort of plastic bag over it for a few days just to keep that moisture in. A clear plastic bag so that we get some daylight getting through. And this is going to sit on a house window ledge. I don't want it to have any extra special heat. Apples grow perfectly well in our British climate, so this will be fine. Sitting on an indoor window ledge is a bit like an early spring start for these seeds. And a few more to go in a moment. And I think that's it. Everything else gets planted in the same way. In a pot, with a cover to keep the moisture in, and put in the heated propagator. And we'll come back in a couple of weeks and see if anything's germinated. So that's it for today. And whatever you're doing, as always, have fun doing it. Bye for now.